Hello, welcome to my cool 1-800 number. Very, very cool. Here is a recipe for cookies.
To start, I'm going to make an EC2 instance, which will have a public IPv4 address, and that's where we're going to host Asterisk on Docker to receive and handle incoming calls. I'm going to launch an instance. I'll just put the date. Obviously, you can put whatever you want. And then the OS, I'll do Ubuntu. You can scroll all the way down. For now, we'll just allow SSH traffic from anywhere. 8 gigs is fine. I'll make a new key pair, I guess. Cool. So now let's go check out the instance and let's update some of the rules for what ports can get what traffic. We're going to go to security. And we'll go to the security group that was created. And I'm going to edit the inbound rules here. So we have to add a bunch of subnets to allow UDP traffic. In order to figure out what subnets we need, I'm going to open up the Twilio page for the IP addresses that they have. And the IP addresses are listed here on this page. So to quickly grab everything, I'm just going to highlight the entire page, go back to VS Code, paste the entire page's contents in, and I just need the subnet right here that ends in this slash. So to quickly grab it, I'm going to highlight this phrase, do Command-Shift-L. Now I've copied everything. And now I have every single IP address here. This list, or the link to the list, will be in this video's description, so you won't have to do this. But I'm just going to grab every subnet like so. Now we have it clean. The command to edit the security group is here. So you want to enable UDP on this port. And our security group ID is this. So I'm going to go back into VS Code and update the security group like so. And then we have to run it once per subnet here, as you can see. So let's go ahead and make this large, and then once per subnet. So if we highlight this each time, we paste it, and then yeah, that should be the correct. Change the theme, it's kind of bright. There you go. Just highlight this really quick, paste, update. Let's see, maybe we have to add a new line in between each. Let's try that. Copy everything. I have everything copied. Try again. Okay, cool. Everything should have worked. So now if I close this and reload, we should see a bunch of rules now for UDP traffic enabled. Cool. Yeah, looks good. So we're good to go here. And let's check our running instance real quick. It has a public IP address, so we're all good. Now let's log into our EC2 instance and configure Asterisk. So to connect, let's just steal the command from the SSH client. You could use any of these options, obviously, but what I'm going to do is first I'm going to change the permissions to just be 400 on the file that I downloaded. Alright, cool. So now I'm in the EC2 instance. Okay, now I'm going to just install Docker by pasting these two commands. It's going to update, and then after it's going to install without prompting me yes or no Docker and Docker Compose. So to recap, I ran this command. I'm going to run this command here just to enable Docker right now. Now I should be able to just type Docker. Okay, it's installed. Docker PS. If you get this permission issue, run this command. Log out, log back in. And then you should be able to run Docker PS without any use of sudo. Now that Docker's installed, I'm going to make a few directories so that we can run all of our Asterisk stuff in Docker. So I'm going to make a folder called Asterisk. I'm going to make a few folders in here. And then I'm going to make another nested directory inside of etc and then asterisk. So if you do ls-r, this is what the layout should look like. Now I'm going to use vim, and I'm going to open up this file. This is our config file for Asterisk. So we're going to change this green value here to the number that we reserve on Twilio. After they call, Asterisk is going to answer, play some music. I passed in the default here so that the music doesn't end and cut off, it just loops. And then finally we'll hang up when the caller disconnects. Next, I'm going to create another file in the Asterisk directory called modules.conf. And it's just going to be 2 lines. This has Asterisk load modules automatically in a certain modules folder. And while we're not really going to use this in this video, it's just good to have if you expand how you set up Asterisk. The next thing I'm going to put is this file in the same directory. In this configuration file, we have some sections. First, defining the protocol, UDP. We have the public IP address of the EC2 server here defined twice. And then the local network, more or less, it's a /16 network starting with 172. Down here, this has to do with the workflow or steps that we want to run once the user calls. We called it from Twilio in the extensions config file. Down here, this is just so that the hold music doesn't time out and that it repeats. Down here, max contacts. And then the last section, and then down here at the bottom, we have a whitelist for every possible IP address that Twilio would be sending call traffic from. That way, Asterisk will accept incoming calls from Twilio. So to recap, if you do ls-r, your directory should look like this. You have 4 files up here. Inside of etc, there's 1 Asterisk folder, and then there's 3 files here. I'm going to also link the contents of these files in the video's description. Now we're going to create a Docker Compose file. So vim docker compose YAML. And the contents of this file is pulling this Asterisk image. I put this exact hash of the image so it's easy to follow. For network mode, I made it host. That way, whatever port that this container exposes, the host also exposes. You can also change this if needed. Volumes match the same as the directories that we created. And let's go ahead and close this and test this out. So I'm just going to do docker compose up. And we can see it ran without any issues. So now let's go to Twilio and configure a toll-free number to point to our EC2 instance. So now I'm on Twilio. I have a trial account with some balance. The first thing I'm going to do is go get a phone number. So I'm going to go to phone numbers, manage, and then in the top right corner, just buy a number. And I want to use a toll-free number, so I'm going to go to advanced search, and I'm going to do toll-free and search for it like so. Cool. And since this is a tutorial, I'm just going to let's just pick this one. I have a balance for my trial. So yes, it costs $2, but for now I don't really have to worry about it. I'm going to go ahead and just hit buy. It's going to subtract from my trial balance, so I didn't actually pay for this number for now. Now that I have the number, I'm going to go over here and look for the word trunk. And this is how we're going to point our phone number to the EC2 instance. So you can go here, elastic SIP trunk, and you can make a new one. So here's my trunk, I created it. And then we're going to go to origination, and we're going to add a new URI. I put the public IP address of the EC2 instance in front of SIP:, and I just copied and pasted it just like that. So I can add. Cool. So this has been created. I guess it's already been saved. I don't have to click it again. So then let's go back to the dashboard, and then we're going to point the phone number to our SIP trunk. So in configure, go SIP trunk, and then yeah, you can just click the same one that you made here. And we'll hit save configuration. So it seems like it's set up. Let's give this number a call and watch the logs in the Docker container to see what happens. So to see the running containers, again, we can just do docker ps. The name of this container is asterisk. So if I paste this command, it's going to run an asterisk command in the container with those flags at the end. And you can do commands like dial plan, show. And this will show that our configuration for the phone number was not updated. Remember, we have to put the real phone number that we registered. So let's actually go and update that real quick. I'm in the EC2 instance here. I'm going to go into the right folder. I'm going to open up that file. It's an EC Asterisk. We can see that I changed what used to say your number here with the actual number we got from Twilio. Now I'm going to save and close the file. And then let's go over here and see if we can reload it without starting the container again. So if I type core reload, it's a lot of logs, but it should have worked. Just run it again just for fun. So there's some errors because it's like missing files, but that's not going to crash the container. We can ignore it for now. And then I'm going to rerun the command dial plan show just to show that our toll-free number was applied. And then to watch the logs, we can just run this command here. And then now we can make a phone call and see if any logs show up as a result of Twilio forwarding the call traffic to our container. We can see that we got some traffic once we dialed the phone number. So this means that our phone number is reachable. So an excerpt from the logs shows an error, and it's because we don't have any music to play for the hold music. This is some of the logs here, and basically it hangs up immediately because, like I said, we need to have some audio. So let's go ahead and set that up now. So to get some text to speech, I'm going to use Amazon's Poly service to create some text to speech, and that will be our hold music, if you will. The user will call and they'll hear some voice saying hello. So I just pasted some cookie recipe from the internet, and this is going to be our hold music.
Hello, welcome to my cool 1-800 number. Very, very cool.
Cool, so I just downloaded the MP3. Back in our terminal, I'm going to run an ffmpeg command, and this is going to convert the MP3 file to a WAV file, however you say it, and it's the file format that Asterisk wants in order to play audio. Now that we converted it to a WAV file, I'm going to run this rsync command, and what this is going to do is it's going to use our SSH key to copy the file into the EC2 instance in the MOH folder, which I just made it short for music on hold. So hit enter. It went. In order for music to play as soon as the user connects to the call, we also have to add one more config file to etc asterisk. So it's vim etc asterisk musiconhold.conf. And in here it's just 2 lines. It's the directory that we're going to put our WAV files into, and then just marked as default mode files. Very simple. Once we have this, we can go ahead and recreate everything. So I'm just going to stop it, recreate it, Docker PS. Looks like it's running fine. So I'll connect to it with the asterisk command. I'll run dial plan show just to make sure everything looks the same. And then I'll enable logging. That way we can monitor an incoming call to test that the audio works.
Hello, welcome to my cool 1-800 number. Very, very cool. Here is a recipe for cookies. Best chocolate chip cookie recipe. Want to learn how to make the best chocolate chip cookie? Well, it's your lucky day. Ingredients: 150 grams salted butter, softened. 80 grams light brown muscovado sugar. 80 grams granulated sugar. 2 teaspoons